Alright guys, Turning Point just ended. And I thought I would do the review straight away because there's no reason not to. Sorry about the lighting, I'm short one bulb, and that's just how life goes. Um, Awesome pay-per-view all around. Awesome pay-per-view all around. Except for the first match, the X Division match between Robbie E. and Jay Lethal, which I'm not going to give the time of day, and I'm not going to justify that decision. Tara and Mickie James. No women's title involved in this, but I love that they totally acknowledge that this was a rivalry that started in WWE. I love that there's been no diva-ness. There's been no bitchy catfight Barbie doll bullshit, which kind of contrasts, the beautiful people angle and lets them look really good at, I don't know, doing that. A lot of submission, a lot of grappling, a lot of, as I said, not catfight stuff at all, just underscoring the fact, the difference between divas and actual women's wrestlers. Mickie James, high five to TNA for getting Mickie James after WWE was stupid enough to release her. Tara doesn't entirely do something for me, but I respect what she can do in the ring, for real. This brawl to the outside, and there was a bullshit double disqualification. But that led to the match after the match, which was a lot more entertaining because it was in the crowd and it was hardcore and there were weapons and it was amazing and it was something you would never, ever, ever see in the WWE. So, 2 points for TNA right off the bat. After that, 3D's final match against the Motor City Machine Guns. I thought this was a great way for Team 3D to go. If they are actually going out and actually staying out and actually, not doing a typical wrestling retirement where, they're going to come back in 3 weeks in some other company. If this is their actual way of leaving wrestling, this was a great way to do it and a great way to sort of pass the torch to the Motor City Machine Guns. It's a respect match, and it's a match that wasn't bogged down by any storyline or any drama or any animosity or any bullshit, which doesn't happen very often. So it's nice when it does. Problem being that there's 4 faces, so who does the crowd cheer for? Do they cheer for the team who is supposedly best right now, or do they cheer for the team who is undeniably the best in recent memory? Problem with it being a respect match is it starts off very slowly. Like, there's no animosity, there's no friction, there's no aggression, so the match starts off very slowly as if they're hesitating, and as if there's a total lack of aggression, which is really cool. There was a showdown at one point in the match between Shelley and Bubba Ray, where it was just, kick after kick after kick from Shelley to Bubba Ray, which was responded to by massive, massive chops to his chest that nearly stunned him to death. I don't want to say it's amusing, but having a standoff like that when the crowd is literally umming and uhing with every shot is awesome. The other highlight of the match being that Devon, and I'm not sure which one of the Motor City Machine Gun guys was which, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but he basically powerbombed one right through the spine of the other, and it looked, I can't do it justice by a verbal description, but if you've seen it, or you did see it, or you're going to see it, you will or already know what I'm talking about. The end was kind of funny. They hit the 3D, and I think it was Saban kicked out, and after they kicked out of the 3D, after they kicked out of the 3D, Team 3D walked around in kind of a fog until the Machine Guns hit the Skull and Bones and retained their titles. So the Guns are still the champs, and it's all very respectful, and scene where everybody's hugging everybody, handshaking everybody, and Team 3D goes off into the sunset, as it were. The next match was Dreamer versus RVD, which is where we get into this bullshit storyline where, all of a sudden RVD doesn't trust anybody because of Bischoff. So now he wants to know which of the guys in EV2 is going to turn on him, this and that, like Jesus looking for Judas, except in wrestling form. So Dreamer's going to smack some sense into him, and that's just great. That sets up a match without it even breaking a sweat. Surprisingly, out of 2 ECW guys, it started off with a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, very, very quickly broke down into a brawl, more so what you would expect from the ECW guys, which is cool, whatever. Right from the beginning, there was a story with Dreamer's wrist when they tried to, whether it was or whether they tried to say it was or whatever, that his wrist was broken. Other than that, he sold that the rest of the match, and eventually RVD got the win. Now these guys have just beat the shit out of each other, and they hug each other at the end. So I love how the saying being that all these matches, they solve issues between people, and they don't. Sorry, I have to see how much time I have left before I bugger up the whole entire video. Nothing is solved at the end of a fight. I hate to sound like an after-school special, but no issues get solved by a fight. People fight because they want to fight. So RVD wins, and they're all messy-dory, and I don't even know. Fortune versus EV2. Now we're getting into, like I say, from the last match right on through to the end of the pay-per-view now. Now you've got all the matches that are mired in drama from this whole immortal, Hogan, Flair, Bischoff, Jarrett, Jeff Hardy regime, like modern day NWO takeover bullshit. Fortune versus EV2, and if Fortune wins, they get to fire a member of EV2. So, it was a messy start. Like, they all piled into the ring, they're all pounding on each other, whatever. And within about 30 seconds of the match, Kendrick, who I don't even know why he's in EV2 to begin with, apparently busted his knee, and he got carried out. So from the very beginning, it was 5-on-4. The one highlight of this is Rhino, who I don't talk a lot about, and I'm not generically a fan of big guys, like brute strength guys, but Rhino's an exception to that. Rhino comes in there like a house of fire and destroys anybody in front of him, and we got to see that for a really good chunk of time, which the focus hasn't been on Rhino in a while. It's either been on like some bullshit storyline with him, or it's been on EV2 in general. So it was nice to see him get a little bit of a time to shine, if I want to narrow it down to one particular phrase. The ending was as messy as the beginning. Eventually, Fortune came out on top. Nobody from Fortune is going to get fired. Like, you look at the guys in there, and even though we don't like them right now, they're the future of wrestling. EV2 is on their way out. And the one that ended up getting fired was Sabu. And I'm sorry, out of EV2, Sabu's the one I enjoy seeing the least. I know ECW purists, will try to tell me how great Sabu was back in the day, but that's back in the day, and there's a little bit of reality check there, and even their fellow ECW guy Taz said that throughout the match. And with that, page 1 of notes is done. Now, a little point about continuity that I loved. Getting ready for the Pope and Abyss match, Pope was being interviewed in the back with his congregation, which was just like a big, looked like a rappers convention, a bunch of black guys in Pope sunglasses, not to be racist, but a bunch of black guys in Pope sunglasses just standing behind him looking all tough and gangster and whatnot. And the entire interview was cut off by the fact that Tara and Mickie James are still beating the shit out of each other in the back, which I thought was amazing. Tara's alliance with Madison Rayne. Obviously, Madison Rayne came in, clocked Mickie James with the belt. I really want to see these girls go at it. I think it'll be amazing. It'll happen, and I'll be happy when it does. And I might need a moment alone. Anyways, Pope and Abyss was not a match. It was storytelling. But Pope brings down all his own lumberjacks and and there's a big size mismatch. Like, I didn't like this match for the same reason I don't like Rey Mysterio versus the Big Show, because instead of making Mysterio look fast and Big Show look strong, it would make Big Show look slow and Mysterio look weak. And that is the same issue I had with Abyss and Pope in this match. And then Bischoff comes down in the middle of the match, and it's revealed that he has bribed all of Pope's buddies, including his supposed brother, and they jump Pope and feed him to Abyss, and there's a black hole slam, and not surprisingly at all, Pope probably gets drug out on a stretcher. Jeff Jarrett and Samoa Joe. All I can say for Jeff Jarrett in this match is he did a good job of making Joe look good, but he's a good guy on his back, so he can make a broom look good. Jeff Jarrett came out, and because he's being a heel now, he came out and blah 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 for a while, tried to pull a power trip on the crowd, told the crowd if they didn't stop booing him, he was going to stop the show, which was amusing. Joe's another guy like Rhino. Joe's another House of Fire, brute force, juggernaut type guy that will just plow through you, and that's what he did through most of this match. A little side note, I would love to see Joe and Rhino. I'm sure it's happened at some point in TNA history, but I haven't been watching since the beginning. I'm not going to lie. Anybody who has, please leave me a comment down there. Let me know about it. Let me know where I can look it up. Amusing point in the match, I'm pretty sure it wasn't supposed to be, but Joe had Jarrett in the corner with big big punches and chops, like 30 or 40 chops in a row before he let him out of the turnbuckle. So I'm almost, I'm tempted to call him the turnbuckle butcher, because he probably beat up the turnbuckle through Jeff Jarrett's carcass. Another thought I had was, the way Joe comes in and just dominates everybody and doesn't give a shit, and he's angry even when there's no reason to be angry. He almost reminds me of Goldberg. Anybody who has some thoughts on that, compare Joe to Goldberg and let me tell you what you think. Murphy and Gunner come in at the end and beat the crap out of Joe. Jeff gets the win. It's really, really lame. At one point, Jeff Jarrett hit the stroke off the top rope, which when he does it from the top rope usually looks really sloppy, and tonight it didn't. So, good for Jeff. Morgan versus Hardy. A match that was put together at the last minute because Anderson was injured. I did not expect much from this match from the beginning, and I will tell you why. I don't like face big guys. If a big guy beats a bad guy that's small, there's no victory there. You want to cheer for a small guy that's fighting a bad big guy. It doesn't really work for me much the other way around. Now, Jeff Hardy, since this whole, turn of face and whatever, has become very, very evil, very heel, and this whole image that he's created for himself is as the Antichrist of wrestling. I didn't like it when they tried to make him heel in WWE because they didn't do it very well. Here, they're letting him kind of do it his own creative way, and I think he enjoys the opportunity to be a heel much along the same line as Randy Orton does, and with his, alternative style and whatnot, he almost reminds me of very, very early Sting, or if anybody remembers Eric Draven from the movie The Crow. Again, give me your thoughts on that, because that's just me going out on a limb now, but, the match started slow, and it was, as opposed to the usual high-flying, crazy-ass shit that you usually see from Jeff Hardy, there was a lot of technical, there was a lot of, submission and grappling and all of that. He didn't hit a single good twist of fate, or twist of hate, as they're now calling it, which is, again, lame. But he didn't hit a good twist of fate the entire match. All of them were botched. All of them, he kind of looked like Matt Morgan fell on him. And then after the third one, he just kind of, rolled over and got the victory, almost like somebody whispered in his ear that time was up. There was no climax to this match at all, and I don't put that on Jeff, even though they're putting him over as a heel. I put it on Morgan, because I don't think he belonged there. There's 110 other people that I would love to see go against Jeff Hardy before Morgan does again. But it definitely solidifies, this new persona of Jeff Hardy solidifies what I've been saying about Jeff Hardy for a long time, is that he's reached that Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle type status where he can't do any wrong in the eyes of the crowd anymore. He could go into the crowd and punch your mother, and you would still cheer for him. And I think that's an amazing accomplishment, amazing recognition of everything that he's done. I think it puts him in a creatively dominant spot. He can do pretty much anything. Thus, donning the Jeff Hardy shirt for this video. Yeah, that was incredibly lame. I just wanted an excuse to pull out one of my favorite ripped up shirts. I'm not going to lie. Mark for Jeff Hardy, no matter what he does. I have been Spaz. The subscribe button is up there. Please, if you enjoyed this, tell your friends. I will see you in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, for Survivor Series, which I'm sure will not be anywhere near as good as this because WWE is whipped by a PG rating. So here's my shout out to TNA. Here's my assuming that Survivor Series is going to suck, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye.